Hello.
Hi.
Back. It's a milestone issue.
Yeah, we stuck with the same line of issue numbers here. Got issue number 25 out here. So
yeah, it's issue number 25, legacy number 25. However you number it, we're still number 25. I feel like we should have some extra art and charge an extra $1, but I don't.
Yeah, maybe we just we add like 8 more minutes to the show and call it a giant.
We may have a special annual edition after the investor conference, so we will.
Yeah,
we'll have to do a one shot. But should we start talking comics?
Yeah, let's jump right back in.
So you want to start here? Here, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. So kind of an off week for King in Black now. We don't have King in Black number 2, but instead we get the tie-in issues, starting with Venom number 31. And this was one way ahead of time. I think back when during Metaverse, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman were part of a panel talking about King in Black. And Donny Cates warned everybody, do not read Venom number 31 before you read King in Black number 1, because it will absolutely spoil it. And he was obviously 100% right. So what did you think of this issue?
I loved it. I don't know who would read this before King in Black. That doesn't make any sense. But this is my pick of the week. You know, getting into Venom's mind, seeing a new side of the symbiote itself, the Venom symbiote. I thought was interesting. It's not a King in Black issue. It's not like, big epic. It's really focusing on Eddie Brock here and the symbiote and his son. And it's, I've always felt Venom was they had the storyline of Secret Wars, and then you get the symbiote takes over Venom, and then Venom just became gooey bad guy. It never really made sense. And the fact that it's getting true to what the symbiote feels and why it's doing what it's doing, and Eddie Brock as a character as opposed to just being, a hat rack for the symbiote. I thought this is, and as I said, I'm not a huge Venom fan, in sort of because I feel like he's been done. I mean, I liked Agent Venom. I liked some other things they've done with it, but just guy with big tongue that eats bad guys just never was really my take on this. But Donny Cates, even though he's crazy, with big Venom dragons and all that stuff, I thought he did a great job with this issue.
Yeah, this Donny Cates' ongoing Venom series as a whole has really added more emotion and human qualities to the Venom symbiote, where you really get to see, like you said, that different side of this alien suit. And yeah, that continued here, and it was really cool. It was a really great issue. I think I was expecting a little bit something different because of the warning that he gave us. I was expecting something big to happen in this issue particularly, but I guess he was just referencing, this is direct aftermath of the King in Black 1 issue. So that makes sense. But still really, really enjoyed this issue. You get into the heads of not only the Venom symbiote, but Eddie Brock as well. And yeah, it was really cool to see this all happening. Again, I don't want to, spoil King in Black right now, but as one instance is happening, this whole issue takes place in that moment. So that was really cool.
It's interesting to me, coming from Ten of Swords, where it was just more of book leads into book leads into book. This is more conventional, big event tie-ins that tell parts of the story in between the big story, and so it's not there's no we had 3 comics today that kind of tied into King in Black, one very tangentially, but it didn't matter which order you read them in, unlike Ten of Swords where we made boo-boos.
I want to say this is sort of a great summary issue. So if you picked up King in Black without reading the Venom story before it, and you're lost after King in Black, this issue will sort of summarize things for you and bring it all together, because it kind of gives you the background of what's been happening over the last year or so for Venom, for Eddie Brock. So yeah, definitely a very helpful issue as this whole story goes forward.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, this is the one that you mentioned kind of tangentially connects to King in Black, right? I mean,
I'm sorry, did I mention that Venom was my pick of the week?
yes, you did. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mention that it was my pick of the week. So we'll
Yeah, we'll see
revisit
what
that
it
a
is.
little later.
I wonder. I had another one that was vying for it, so we'll see if you my runner up is your pick.
We'll see. What did you think of this Namour issue? This was a little bit different from what I expected as well.
Yeah, so this one's very much so Namor has the two sides, right? It's like him on Earth being a an Avenger type hero, and then there's the saga of the sea, sort of like Thor underwater.
Yeah.
And this is definitely Thor underwater, which I was kind of surprised because King in Black, it's not a huge King in Black issue. It might be headed that way, but it's more intrigue. There's it's a majorly a flashback issue that I think will set up something. The Black Tide obviously seems to be setting something up, but this is definitely previously on the life of, and so it's nice to see young Namour do his thing, but it's definitely not what I expected.
Yeah, totally agree. I really like Namour as a character, but I've never been a big fan of the Atlantis type stories. That's just not my cup of tea, really. But this one, again, I was just surprised and a little bit confused. I kept reading it, waiting for the tie-in to King in Black, and obviously it's going to happen eventually. But I mean, you can read King in Black without reading this issue. This is very, very loosely connected. I'm actually interested to see how it connects at all because it doesn't seem to have a direct correlation. There's some sort of outer, like you said, tangentially connects to it. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
It definitely pulled in my knowledge, every bit I know about Marvel's Atlantis, like the different factions that I've just picked up sort of tangentially. But yeah, I think there's a tease as to how it ties in, but it's not like Ten of Swords where this is, meanwhile.
Right. I am very interested to see what role Namour will play in this fight because obviously he's a big power for the heroes side of this, so he could be very useful. I'm just not sure if that fight is ever going to make it out of the water. So I guess we'll have to see.
Oh, going into space.
Yeah, from the depths of the ocean to up into space. I really liked this one. I think it was really cool that we got a byproduct of the last two crossovers with Empire and Ten of Swords. So yeah, I really enjoyed this issue. I think it is walking that line of like it can be a really, really good story, and it can also kind of veer off into the super vague, confusing mutant stories that we've been getting a little bit. So I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, to me, this was a very accessible book, though. I mean, we just had tons of mutant, so I kind of know where this is going. Some great deep cut mutants, so they're okay. They are deep cut mutants. You're not expected to know who they are. You just get them through. There's Peepers, who I think is best known from the XMen animated series, who just Magneto just goes like, "Hey, buddy, I missed you so much." Like, hello, old friend. And you don't need to know everything about every character because, quite frankly, no one does. But I thought it was accessible. I thought it was exciting. This was, one of the best X-Men issues, if you call it an X-Men issue, I've read in a long time, in my opinion. I just think you had a great team. The people on the team who you're expected to know, you know who Cable is, who Magneto is, even though you don't really need to. I mean, his name's Magneto. You know what he does.
Right.
So, it had that X-Men sort of prose thing that they've been doing, which is written stuff and charts and things, which I thought actually played well here. It wasn't too dense as some of those others were. So I really enjoyed this book.
Yeah, I want to clarify. Like this issue to me, I agree 100%. I think this is very simple. It's very easy to follow. I really like the structure of this new space program that they've got building and the relationship with that and Krakoa. But the way that it ends leads to something that I think could go completely wild and, get us completely out there again. But so we'll see. We'll see how it goes and where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because this book deals with Ten of Swords. It deals with Empire. It also deals with King in Black.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of a very much a Marvel book, like Marvel Universe expansive. So, maybe not a great new reader book just because there's so much going on. But if you just love a big picture view of what's going on in Marvel, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Avengers.
Yeah, so kind of weird getting into an Avengers story with what's going on in the Marvel universe. You kind of just have to go with the flow of comics and just accept that, all right, well, I guess King in Black's not happening in this universe right now. So yeah, very different Avengers story. Although this does take place at a very different period in time, so there's also that.
This is 10,000 BC, right? I would also like to point out the cover is the exact opposite of what happens in the story.
That's a fair assessment.
So it does feel like they're spinning their wheels, ready to get to to kind of get to Enter the Phoenix. You get sort of previously we had the 10,000 BC Avengers. Now you have the 10,000 BC X-Men. And just basically setting the stage of the Phoenix, the power of the Phoenix. I don't know, they kind of did this before too with the Avengers 10,000 BC, where it's just sort of like this happened back then and now it's happening again.
Right.
So it's a one and done kind of story. At least this particular issue. Not saying it doesn't lead into other things, but it's definitely a break from the Moon Knight story we're getting before.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that led into this, but definitely a different kind of story. I will say the title and the cover here did get me excited for what I thought was going to give us sort of the origin of the Phoenix. And I mean, we don't really get that. We do sort of get the origin of the Phoenix on Earth, which was cool, or at least as far as we can tell from this issue. Which was really cool, but I was hoping for some more, sort of big cosmic Marvel answers in this issue. And it didn't fully give us that, but it did set up an interesting story going forward. And like you said, I'm kind of interested to see how we get to present day or when we get to present day, because it doesn't seem like that's where we're going right away here. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is, but yeah, it seems like we are set up for a story in the past right now.
This is the last book, so it's got to be your pick of the week, huh?
Yeah, Process of Elimination. This was it. Yeah, this was just one of those issues that I started it and then I was done. I flipped a couple pages and it was over. I have obviously really been enjoying it. I think this is like the third time this story arc has produced my pick of the week. So yeah, this last Remain story with Kindred, I'm obviously really into this villain. He is fantastically creepy and just all sorts of weird. He's also just so different. Every villain has just wanted to kill Spider-Man, right? They want to kill Spider-Man so that they get him out of the way and then they can rule New York City, basically. Well, Kindred did that, and then he brought him back to life. So what is Kindred's end game here? I'm really curious what he is looking to achieve and how this story ends, because it doesn't seem like it can really. So what are your thoughts on this one?
So I feel like I like the story. I like the villain. I feel it's moving way too slow. We seem to get a lot of issues of Kindred beating up Spider-Man, taunting him about his past actions, and then something else happens, and then we get the same thing. It's like a book of monologuing, like from like Incredibles, and I'm just quite frankly, I'm over it, you know, and I'm kind of ready for it to get into gear. You know, exactly what is Kindred at this point? I think we can say Harry's point. You know, what happened to him? Like, I just feel like there's so many questions, and we just get Spider-Man being tortured every week, and we don't know why, really. We don't know what the point is in terms of Kindred's perspective. You know, I mean, first we had from the Sin Eater kind of doing the same thing, and then it's like, okay, well, here's the real big bad, and then he basically does the same thing again. And I just feel it's a little, you know, it's been the last couple of issues been a quick read, a good read, great acting, but I'm ready to kind of, okay, what's the point? Where are we going?
Yeah, that's fair, and I am starting to get that itch for I mean, I just asked the question: what is Kindred's goal here? What does he want? So I am right there with you as far as wanting those answers. I just think the up to this point, like getting us to those questions has been so entertaining. And like I said, I open this comic and it's done. I just finish it in a matter of seconds, really. And I mean, to me, that's just a sign of, you know, something that's really entertaining. So and yeah, just the dynamic between Peter and Harry here too makes it so that, yeah, we are watching Peter just get tortured one issue after another, but the fact that it's by somebody like Harry Osborn just adds that extra layer of storytelling to it. And, you know, if you've read Spider-Man comics for a long time, it just adds so much weight to these comics.
So I'm actually going to save this next thing for last because it'll tie into everything else. But we got some new Hasbro news, including the House of X figures.
Yeah, and the first Friday live stream, they announced that the House of X wave of Marvel Legends series figures went up for pre-order. As you can see, the Build-A-Figure was announced as the Tri-Sentinel, which is a really cool, really unique figure. Excuse me. I mean, as you can see, just like a completely different sculpt from any other figure we've seen. So really, really cool one. I really like the, and we've seen them before, but the Charles Xavier and the Magneto figures are just such unique looks to this story that I think it's a really cool addition to collections. So yeah, really, really awesome figures.
This is my boy.
Yeah. Knew you were excited about that new MODOK figure, part of the Bring On the Bad Guys collection, which is really awesome. Another one that's just a very unique figure. It's just so different from your typical action figure and has a removable faceplate, so you can change out his face as well.
Yeah. Then Cannonball, he comes with legs too. You can switch it
out. Yeah, that was the announcement of that live stream for Cannonball, was that he will also come with legs.
Classic Ultron, right?
Yeah, this one was so cool. They kind of left the video with a few little teases since this is their last live stream of 2020. So they gave us each a little tease for a future figure. We learned that there's going to be a figure coming that has a tail. That could be so many different characters. My guess is Squirrel Girl, but who knows? And then
I went to Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's a good one. Yeah, that is a good, especially with all the XMen figures coming out.
What about Lockjaw?
What'd you say?
Lockjaw have a tail?
I'm sure he has a little stubby tail there. That's another good one. I would really like to see a Lockjaw figure. But this classic Ultron is so cool. Just, you know, great all-time comic book villain, and then that like sort of energy plasma coming out of his mouth is such a cool accessory. So really excited for that one. And then yesterday they also announced up for pre-order now is this Firestar Marvel Legends series figure. So another cool addition if you're adding to your mutant collection. And Firestar does come with her dog too. For another, if you want to add a dog to your Marvel figures collection as well.
Does he have a tail?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. I'm looking for the name. It's escaping me right now. Oh, Miss Lion. There you go. So the Miss Lion accessory comes with this Firestar figure.
This is Evian.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is news that we knew was coming. They announced a while back that we were getting new Predator and Alien comics, but now we know Alien is coming out in March. So actually, much sooner than I expected. So it'll be exciting to get new Alien stories in Marvel comic form. That's going to be a lot of fun. I am.
Does it have Sigourney Weaver if only one part of articulation from the Great Movie Ride?
Oh, see, I was wondering if you were just like looking around to make sure there were no xenomorphs creeping up on you or anything.
That's a cool looking xenomorph.
It really is. I'm so excited to see the art in these comics, this and Predator. I admit I have always been a little bit more of a Predator fan, so I'm looking forward to those comics a little bit more. But both of these, I'm so excited for. This is going to be a really different comic to pick up.
So we actually got some MCU news. I'm going to start with the not Disney one.
Okay.
Alfred Molina is reportedly going to be in this third MCU Spider-Man film. There's been talk of Jamie Foxx and all the other Spider-Man kind of doing like a weird Spider-Verse kind of thing through the multiverse, and maybe even explaining how there's a Sony Spider-Man universe and whatever, all that. But I don't know if you know that. Do you know Alfred Molina's tie to the Walt Disney Company outside of appearing in Disney movies?
Aside from appearing in Disney movies, no, I do not.
His girlfriend is Jennifer Lee, the chief creative officer for Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Wow, that's a strange connection.
Probably need to get.
What are your thoughts on him coming back for this movie?
Well, so there's two thoughts. One, I mean, I love Alfred Molina. And I thought he might be the best Spider-Man villain we've seen on film. I mean, I have to go through them all mentally, but I mean, Green Goblin was great, but he really played up the transformation of Doc Ock, and was just like ultimately, he's not, a movie star who became a villain. Like, he's just like, a character actor being a character actor in a villain, but brings so much emotion to it. I'm excited about, obviously, where all these leaks seem to imply we're headed. We always kind of wondered after Endgame, how would the Marvel universe sort of shock us? It's like Marvel movie, and Kevin Feige basically turns fan fiction into movies. I think if you look, it seems so obvious now, but when they made Iron Man, the thought that they were going to have an interconnected movie universe that they teased at the end of Iron Man blew our minds. Looking back, we go like, well, duh. But, creating these distinct franchises and not just spin-offs, like, and masterfully, not making it, so that it's just chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, making each movie great on its own, but then having all this interconnective tissue and making it fun, making it comics. And that's, I remember after Avengers, everyone was like creating cinematic universes, for stupid stuff. And it's like, no one needs a Ghostbusters cinematic universe. No, you just make Ghostbusters. But, but it's so tied to what makes comics cool. And it takes the DNA of that, brand, franchise, or whatever you want to call it, creative engine, and just brings it to the screen. And so there's that part too. So, it's a win-win to me.
Yeah. So on the surface, when I saw this announcement, my immediate reaction was excitement. Obviously, big Spider-Man fan, big Marvel fan, big MCU fan. How can you not be excited about this? Like you said, is one of the best Spidey villains we've seen on the screen coming back. So yeah, really awesome. Really excited to see him coming back. And on top of that, I am a sucker for that shared universe sort of thing. So to extend the MCU out into these other quote unquote legacy Marvel films, although I guess the Sony ones aren't typically under that category. But to extend that out and get this all in one movie, that's amazing. That's such an awesome concept to see that all come together. I am nervous though about overcrowding this movie. We've seen it happen. Not only have we seen it happen before, we've seen it happen in a third Spider-Man movie before. So, But I'm going to be fair. I want to be fair here.
these are not. It's not like they're announcing Alfred Molina stars in.
Right.
He
And
appears on set, so he could be in there for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he's a drive. You're right. Overcrowding a movie is a problem. I mean, but I also thought the same thing. Like, how are we going to do Endgame without overcrowding it? And they don't. They appear there. They're in it, but it doesn't mean they're. Every character gets 30 minutes.
Right.
It might just be he goes through and there's one battle, or it's a cameo. We don't know. And in Kevin Feige, I trust. I mean, I'll just go back to that anytime. But I gotta say, if we're getting into multiverse and connecting all the different Marvel Cinematic Universes, if we do not get a chance for the Fantastic Four universe to somehow have a moment where Johnny Storm meets someone who knows Cap.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I'm sure. I'm off the top of my head, I'm blanking right now, but I'm sure there are some other like shared castings that would be great. Like, can we get some sort of somebody recognizes Cable's voice as Thanos?
Right.
By the way, I have the perfect post-credit scene for this movie, and that's Deadpool being very upset that he was not invited to be in this movie, and that's how you bring him into the MCU. So there you go.
I just think, I don't know how they're going to handle it, and you don't want the multiverse to get unwieldy like it has sometimes in the comic books, but it might be a chance for them to clean up the mess that sort of exists in a similar way like the Deadpool movies somehow.
Right, the time travel.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. And I agree. I think they will all just have sort of small parts. I think you kind of see, you'll probably see our Tom Holland Peter kind of zipping through different universes and seeing these guys, but probably not for very long. I am curious though, with, villain roles being reprised by past actors, who is the villain of this movie going to be? Like, what is driving Peter into the multiverse? And what is
I don't know, and I don't want to.
I agree 100%. I don't want to know yet.
Right.
But I'm just curious to know, who it is.
So we got some more casting news for what show is this? Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Which tomorrow is going to be crazy because the Disney's having an investor conference where we know, I can't say why we know, but we know news about upcoming series and movies will be revealed, and new titles will be announced, new information will be released. But I don't know, what do you want to say about this?
I just got a lot more excited for the Hawkeye series. Florence Pugh being a part of it is awesome. You're bringing in a character that we haven't even seen yet in Black Widow, and she's also going to be a part of this series. So that's great. The other one I was really excited about was Vera Farmiga being a part of this. She's a fantastic actress, and she's going to play Kate Bishop's mother in this series, who has connections to Madame Mask in the comics. Potential future villain that could be coming in. And like I said, Vera Farmiga is fantastic. If you haven't seen Bates Motel, she's Norma Bates in that show. She's so good. But they've also casted Echo, Maya Lopez, one of the sort of unsung popular heroes of the Marvel Universe. I'm really excited to see what they do with that character. Is she going to make her way up to the big leagues and become, because in the comics, she does eventually become an Avenger. So we'll have to see what they do with that character as well.
This kind of brings home why I'm so excited for Disney Plus and Marvel content, is because the one frustrating thing I have with the Infinity Saga is you never get to see the Avengers just be Avengers. It's like they get formed, and then somewhere they get disbanded, and then they come together, but they have a headquarters. I mean, and everyone, somehow gets to know them. So they're doing stuff, they're fighting bad guys. We just don't get to hear those stories because they're not, Earth extinct level events.
Right.
And so I'm hoping we get to find the little nooks and crannies. There's so many, stories that are in between the movies we see. And, Star Wars has always done that through comics and books and stuff. And, not everything deserves a movie, but hopefully through Disney Plus, we'll get, kind of like they used to do with the one shots, which would kind of just tweak it just a little bit. I'm hoping we get to hear more of those stories in a way that's, produced, not on a broadcast television budget, on a real big scale.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the only time we get to see the Avengers, like you said, be Avengers, is like the first 10 minutes of Civil War. That's about it. And that's really just to create an inciting incident for the rest of the movie. I also, by the way, another character that I missed that was casted for Hawkeye is Jack Duquesne, who is likely to be Jacques Duquesne, also known as the Swordsman. So another Avenger, another potentially big character introduced in this series. So this went from being sort of the fourth, seventh, I guess, Disney Plus series that was kind of just off to the side, to being up there for me. This is exciting. There's a lot of new characters coming into play here.
Did they cast Pizza Dog?
I don't want to get into that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll just say
I'm really curious to see if they lean into that. What was the author? Matt Fraction run. That's sort of an iconic Hawkeye run where he kind of is mentoring Kate Bishop.
Yeah, okay.
Very, very, very street level, not in a dark way, but just Hawkeye just trying to get by, do his thing. So
that is pretty much what I'm expecting out of this series. I think this is going to be more focused on character development for Clint Barton and introducing Kate Bishop to become a new big player.
Cool. So as we said, tomorrow, starting at 1:30, follow us for full coverage. We'll be live blogging it. There will be a public stream that will not include any of the clips, but we will have access to see the clips. So we will pass on what we see as best we can to you. And we will have access to all the title treatments and written materials that we'll pass on as well. So it's a big day to be a Disney fan. I know it's been a challenging year for everyone. And even as a Disney fan, not that that's the most important thing for anyone, but, we've struggled to have something to look forward to. So it'll be nice to have an optimistic look about the future of Disney Plus, as well as some other things, and get us excited for the future.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm already like insomnia. I already have insomnia from like getting excited. So anyway, that's Marvel Time. We'll be back. We may do a special Marvel Time at some point, going over what we learned yesterday or tomorrow. Time loop. But we will figure that out later. So thanks, everybody.
Bye.